Gary Nickerson.
And I'm Quinn Taggart.
And this is Outside My Window.
The Catch-22 Comedy Crew is the source of a production that's coming up for Dinner Theatre called The Good, the Bad, and the Holy, July 10th to the 13th of 2024. The Comedy Crew is originally a live improv group and has toured around Nova Scotia with their live improv and comedy skits since 2017. Tonight we have Nicole, LeBlanc, Wendy, Siddall, Jeremy Watkins, and everybody. Like, you're all original parts of the crew, are you not?
Yes, we are.
And how many did you have to start with, and where are you at now?
We had about 14 or 15, and then so back then we used to do like this many people did so many shows, and this, but little by little we
weeded out.
And we also slowed down the amount of shows that we were doing too. At that time, the Nova Star was traveling regularly, so there's a regular influx of tourism that was going into the Grand Hotel. We started the Catch-22 at the Grand Hotel as a hotel kind of lobby show in their lounge, just to entertain tourists and give us a starting point to start doing regular improv performances.
And why improv? Why not stand-up? Why not skit comedy or performance art comedy? Why improv? How did that come about?
For me, improv was a way when you were training to be an actor. It was a way that you could go out and possibly work for an improv crew in a restaurant in Halifax and make some scratch, make $25-$30. And I always liked watching it, going to the restaurant, watching the shows also. Over the years, slowly we did some workshopping over the years. So it's always kind of been there. It's just not been accessed. So it was something that we got innovative with and started something new in town. And now we've grown into be something that tours around.
And actually, we call it improv, but we do a little bit of everything.
right. For me, I had never done improv before, and I got a call from Jeremy, and he's like, hey, we're looking for another woman to join the group, and what do you think? So I went, and I ended up loving it. Of course, that's why I'm still here, but we do a lot of skits and music, and we do a lot of different things.
Yeah, a little bit of stand-up, too.
We are starting to move forward with some of our stand-up, and each of us are giving it a try here and there, so it's been fun.
So background-wise, now we've talked to Jeremy before on the podcast, so we've got a little bit of his history, but Nicole, you and Wendy, what's your background and what led you to improv?
I was born funny.
It sounds like there's a story to that, too.
I was always the funny one in my family, so but then I started doing things at the Yard, comedies, farces, stuff like that, and so that's how we kind of all got to know each other. And so that's what we've been doing. So it's been fun.
And I was also born funny. It's funny in families, isn't it? Weird in families. There's always that one child that, is a bit more dramatic and likes to be in front of an audience and likes to perform. So I did the same. Now I'm a little bit older than these guys.
A little bit.
A little bit.
She's textured.
Right. I'm riper.
I'm going to steal that. I like that.
And I started in high school with a little bit of drama from small Cape Breton town. And I've always had music in my life. So came to Yarmouth, got involved in the Yarmouth Chorale, then got involved at the Ark with some productions. And here we are, 30 plus years later in the theater community and performing community in Yarmouth.
Yeah, not so long for me because you're more textured.
I'm more textured
than I am.
I think I'm about as textured as she is. So.
Oh, actually, I'm more textured than you are.
Well, I don't like to guess.
I mean, let's not argue, but she's older than you, just so you know.
I'm a 50s product, so yeah.
Leading up to the crew, leading up to the improv group, for me, Wendy was always there and a partner for me, doing new things, new ideas. There's a long list of stuff, but she was in the first show that I did for the Ark. I remember that, and just classic comedy, classic person to come into the group in a textured demographic, right? To add the layer of, not only at that time, there's 15 of us, there was young people, there's mid-aged people, there's ladies,
And then there was Wendy.
and then, we had the textured ones in there too.
As you were all kind of growing up, were you like the class clowns? Is that where you kind of honed in on some of your comedic talent?
Yeah, I was definitely put in the corner a lot for my shenanigans at school. Yeah. And I'm sure Jeremy spent a lot of time
Timeouts?
in detention or something, I'm sure. Because we all have that in common, that we're the funny one of our family. We're, we kind of get in trouble when we're in quiet zones. But nobody got it back then that I had talent. They just thought I was bad.
It's highly mistaken.
It's highly mistaken.
Where do you guys draw your inspiration from for your improv? Is it news, current events, family, friends? Jeremy's laughing, so we'll save him for last.
Life, some life things. People don't like to be around me if I think something is funny, because I'll jot it down on my phone and then I'll use it, and they know that they're going to be used in a comedic way, but they're getting used to it now. So mainly for me it's just life, work, movies, TV, kind of take things from them.
One of our classic big views on our Facebook Live, things that were happening during COVID, is you had to get creative, right? You had to use the platforms more. You would we're in Frost Park here today. We actually came here and did a video show in the park because we were within rules, and we had people sporadically spread out 6 feet apart and everything here to get that done. But one of our to go back to what we were talking about, is one of our famous videos of current events things was our impersonation of Justin Trudeau, and we had a Acadian translator come in and translate in layman's terms to our community, that we can better understand exactly what he was saying. And we went to some places with that, did some live events too. Current events, we have the news segment that we do, so we can kind of pick away at town events, Nova Scotia things, even national stuff, whatever's hot at the time. Get some chuckles.
So we're chatting today about dinner theater, which is a bit of a change from what you're used to. Now you're dealing with a script. You've got defined characters. You've got timing, props, musical numbers, I'm presuming, as well. So how's that adjustment working for you?
I've done dinner theater before in my younger years, before I was so textured.
I've seen you do them.
Yeah, enjoyed it. And of course, that's where your theater work and all that experience comes in. And most of us have been in musicals, and
Yeah, we all have that
can all
background.
sing and dance.
Yeah, we can dance.
Yeah, and act.
We all have that background of the
Yes.
theater, and we've all directed, and so we have that to bring into this. We rewrote it ourselves, so it means a little more to you than when you're just grabbing a script and doing it, right?
But when you go through things over and over and over again in your head, do you find you overthink it a bit, especially the comedy? Or are you just going to let it go and say, all right, you know what, that's it, I'm not touching it anymore, this is the joke, we're going to stick with it?
I think I really reach for the feedback from the audience as the show's going, and I'm hoping that our jokes are relatable, and we added really Yarmouthian stuff to this because our majority audience is going to be from our area, so the last names of characters, where we are, cliche spots, poking fun at that stuff, and we hope that kind of goes full circle for the entertainment value of the show.
And when we were writing, we kept going over it and over and over, and then finally we're like, this is the last time. We've tweaked it, we've each individually looked at it separately, we've looked at it together as a group, and then we just said it's enough. Because it's like you said, you could keep going back and changing, but at some point you have to stop and know that you got it.
And as you're going through it, are you laughing at the jokes yourself? Do
Oh,
you find
yes.
yourself just...
We keep each other entertained all the time. That's why we do it.
Sometimes we'd have wine and we'd write, and then we go back to it the next time. And
I try to put quotation marks around stuff that's like, okay, this was the time when we did this. Is this funny later? So that we can kind of really analyze what we were thinking and how we were writing.
I was wondering whether or not you were into the performance-enhancing drugs on this part or not, right? Because you figure wine, any alcohol, a couple of chewables.
Yeah, and then I go back and read it.
Edibles,
Edibles,
sorry.
yeah. You go back and look at it and you're like, oh, no, you can't say that.
Damn.
Gotta change that.
Do you gauge the audience? I mean, like if it's an older audience, you kind of up the level a little bit compared to a family-friendly?
I think with the content of this show is really going to poke around the demographics that we have. It's it's going to poke at stuff. So we're poking at comedy. If we're using the comedy to poke at things, that's why it's called The Good, the Bad, and the Holy. And we hope that everybody has a more broader view of comedy and what we're trying to accomplish, because we are going to do some poking at stuff.
Yeah.
I find when they bring, comedy shows in from out of town, the Yuck Yucks and some of the other ones, I don't mean to pick on the Yuck Yucks. They're great comedians in their own right and in their own space, but it doesn't always necessarily work here. So do you think the regionalization approach that you're taking is going to give you a better reaction from the audience?
I think that not to pick on the Yuck Yucks, but I last year they were at the Liberal they're at a Liberal conference that I was at as the entertainment, and the most relatable guy was talking to Phil Mooney about a story about his dad that was in politics in Pictou or something like that, and it was his last name, and it was his dad, and him and Phil had this huge moment where they were just going and talking about a local story. So and when we tour around, if we're going to Shelburne, we're going to try and make some Shelburne jokes. We're going to try and incorporate
the town.
Clyde River. Like we're going, we try to incorporate where we're going and find things and do some research and incorporate that. And I think that's always the funnest part with a live audience. You can be Nicole LeBlanc and draw and be a hilarious act, right? But you're not that top name. We're a group that have to relate to our audience, and if you find those things, you got it made with the entertainment value and what people like laugh at.
Just have to throw a few things out, like those first couple jokes, like in improv, we throw a few out, and if you got people going, oh, then we're like, okay, we're diverting really quick. We're not gonna touch that. It may be a sensitive area.
Swing and a miss.
So, and same with the dinner theater. We're gonna throw some stuff out, and if they don't love it, we're just gonna move on. But we wrote it to be very casual and not a huge lot of deep issues are we going to talk about.
It's fun.
It's fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fun and quick and jab
And
here and there. And
music is from the 70s and 80s, so that's always fun and a big pull for people. And relatable, right? It's staying current, but it's a fine line from pissing people off and people laughing at you.
Yeah.
Or both at the same time.
Or both.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about ad-libbing in the dinner theater? Did you guys leave room for a little bit of improv in there?
Oh, yes, sir, we did. That's our favorite thing.
yep. It's the audience that directs that.
Right.
Because there'll be opportunity, and we all know each other well enough to know if somebody has an opportunity, go for it.
Now, of course, when you're doing a stage presentation or of any play, be it comedy or musical or otherwise, you've got their full attention the whole time, for the most part. I mean, people love to be on their phones and stuff, but they're not supposed to be. But you've got their attention. But as a dinner theater, I'm going to be eating at my plate or drinking out of a glass. So are you planning for that as part of the production as well? Is it loose enough that if I stare down at my plate for a second for a little bit of dessert, I'm not going to miss some critical
Right. There's
point?
no real stage that we have to stay on, so we can go among the tables, and if you're eating, I might take a bite. I don't know. It depends on what I feel like doing. But yeah, we
They
don't
do
have to
good
stay.
cheesecake, right?
Yeah.
And we'll be in character the whole time. Right.
So there's not a set stage that we have to stay on. So that means the play area is just huge.
We have a good history with doing the hospice fundraisers, dinner theater style, where we're the servers, we're in character while we're serving to the customers and getting to know them between the set story times. And that's a lot of the service that we're excited about providing. That's going to make this a really fun experience, I think.
Do you guys have a process that you follow to kind of get yourself into the right frame of mind for the character you're portraying?
I mean, those are secrets.
Yes.
Trade
those are the
secrets.
Trade
Trade
secrets.
Are we
No.
talking red or white?
White.
Okay,
Yeah.
checking.
I think we wrote this to our strengths,
Yes.
right? We wrote this so that we're going to have something sharp, and we wrote it to our strengths of who we have as characters and who we have in our crew, and yeah, it's going to be exciting
We
and
knew
fun.
we knew who was playing the characters first, so we could write to their strengths in this particular one. So that was helpful.
Who do you guys admire in the comedy field?
I'm not a comedy fan.
Really?
No, I'm not.
But you can play one on TV.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I enjoy doing it. I don't enjoy watching it as much. I love performing it, and I didn't know I would because it wasn't something I ever aspired to do until Jeremy asked me if I'd
You got
try
that
it.
call.
I got the
Yeah,
call.
you got the call.
Yeah. So
Did he guilt you
to
into it,
say-
or?
No, not really, because I was ready to do something. I just retired from a nursing background of 30 plus years, and when he put it on the table, I thought, well, why not? And it scared me. It was a challenge, and I like to be challenged. I think it's healthy to move into something. But I'll tell you who I always found immensely funny, and I always had this little bit of attraction to, and if I ever had the opportunity, although I think he's dead now, is Dudley Moore.
Yes.
That's who so in terms of today's comedy, no, but here we go, my textured, person that I am. But Dudley Moore, I love that. He made me laugh, and I wanted him badly because of that.
The comedians of today, or so-called comedians of today, are not, like Kevin Hart and some of the other ones. Yeah, I mean, okay, they're funny in the moment, but back in my younger years, I mean, you had Eddie Murphy, and every second letter was an F-bomb, or every second word was an F-bomb. That didn't really do anything for me. In the right context, sure, maybe an F-bomb works, but it didn't really do anything for me. But then you had people like Richard Pryor doing almost the same sort of thing, but he after his accident, he became a lot more relatable on that. But my ultimate favorite is George Carlin. Now, yes, he does swear too, but it's in the context of the moment. It's not dropping the swearing for the sake of trying to get a laugh out of it. It's in the context of what he's trying to say, like the 7 words you can't say on television.
I think to show my textured side, it's not a comedian. It was the show, the Carol Burnett show.
Yes.
And their whole crew. Like, they were all completely funny, and when they cracked up, that was the best. So I take some stuff out of there. SNL over the years, the good ones. That's kind of where I draw from.
Oh, the Carol Burnett show. I mean, Tim Conway and
Right.
and Harvey Korman, the two
Right.
of them together. The dentist sketch.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Oh my God, some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still watch it on YouTube.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah, I do.
hilarious.
They're good. They were good.
I come from a different kind of energy level. I need I kind of bring the kind of a different energy to the crew.
I'm half scared.
So, and when I was coming up through, and I decided to try and make a choice whether show business was a way to make some bucks and make a career out of it, I was really reaching at film myself, and I think that somebody that really was there with Richard Pryor at the beginning at a very young age, and at the Eddie Murphy age, they're coming up through, is and a huge influence for me is Jim Carrey. And just as he came up through with he brought the theatrical feel and the theatrical comedy and the theatrical over exuberance, overacting, or whatever you want to call it, to film, right, where it's all centered in, right. And he changed a lot, and a lot of boundaries, and he moved the goalpost around a lot that way.
Yeah, Robin Williams did it for me early on.
Yeah,
right.
huge.
His early stuff was
Absolutely,
just
you forget.
But then the drama that he's done as well on top of that just showed his depth as an actor in general. But of course, everybody remembers Robin's comedy, right? And
I've done one of his. I've done his the golf comedy.
oh yes,
The golf monologue about the creation of this game of golf. I love doing that little bit. We did that at the Pines.
Yes.
Remember, we did that at the Pines.
So let's talk about the good, the bad, and the holy. So the synopsis you gave me is a convent fundraiser takes a dramatic turn as secrets involving Reverend Mother, Father David Bird, love affairs, clandestine relationships, and the presence of a mysterious mafia boss. Now that sounds like a combination for a wonderful, hilarious evening. And his floozy, oh sorry, I left her out, add some complexity.
There's always a floozy.
There's
yes.
always. The plot thickens, of course, when an attempted murder casting a shadow over the once serene setting. I'll save the second paragraph, but I mean, set the stage for us. Are we coming out hitting? Or are we kind of building up a little bit before things kind of get rolling?
No,
No, we're coming out.
we're coming out.
We're coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we only have so long, so we got to really come out and hit, and yeah.
There's four
It's-
segments, four bits
Yeah.
of information in the show. So each one of them is gonna we're going somewhere with it right off the get go. Yeah. It's set in the 80s, late 80s, so we can encompass the 70s and 80s music. It takes place at
Church.
at
A church.
a church here in Yarmouth. Yes.
Wendy, are you using your own wardrobe?
Of course.
Of course, she does.
Of course.
She's-
We all have. Hey, look, I've got stuff still in my closet that I will never fit into in a million years, but are in that range. Like, I'm not throwing that away. That's
Oh, no, I don't throw anything away. As these two can attest, and my family, I do not throw. I have a huge basement, and
But it
tons of
comes in
room.
handy. Like it
Oh.
comes in
Heck
handy.
yeah. Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
Wendy, do you have this? She's like, yep.
Yep.
Right.
Go down the basement. I know I have it.
She's
I
got a
have to
tickle truck
find
down
it.
there.
Yeah.
Wendy opens the show as Mother Superior,
oh yeah.
and she sings a song, and it's gonna grab you, and
And then you'll know where
then
we're
you'll know
going
where we're
And
right
going.
from the
then
get-go.
you'll know.
Yeah.
Now, are you using the full crew, or are you bringing in some extra talent?
Unfortunately, it was offered to the crew first, and not everybody could do it. Dan Sherman and Dave Doucette could not do it, so we did have to hire one person. So we hired Alan Whitaker, and he will be playing Father Bird.
So yeah, and when we were writing this, we
With his elf energy, or
No, do you know what? That's hard. We had a rehearsal the other day, and I'm like,
you got to get rid
he's
of that, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He is so much like Buddy himself. So we've given him a task to learn an accent, so it kind of takes away from Buddy.
Sure.
And he has to play a lot older. So we'll age him a little bit. So
Yeah, we originally wrote it for our crew, and when we originally lost one, so we edited it and for 6 of us, and then ultimately we had to recast Dan out of it, and so we kept it as we tried to keep it as a crew show for our people. We've been at this since 2017, so we're trying and exploring new things with the people that have been with you since day one. It's really fun. It's been very rewarding.
Now, when you do your traveling shows, I mean, do you base that on just availability of who's coming as to what your set's going to be like?
Yep. Yeah, definitely. 100%. 100%. When we book shows, there's 2 different ways. If you're the booker, you guys book, then pretty much you're the host and get your help, right? If the bookers, through our Facebook or through, people reaching back to us, we go through a rotation. So everybody is learning how to be a better host every show and finding different ways to incorporate comedy in different ways.
right. So if I'm the host of the show that's going to be at Haley's or whatever, then I set the games, I set the skits, I set who's playing what. So you play to those strengths of those characters that you're going to have ahead of you. So not everybody likes to host, though. Not all of us I love hosting. I would host full time. But there's a few that don't like it. It's a lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But you're in control,
Yeah.
right?
Leave it to you to like the control. Jeez. But I also feel like if I'm hosting and I've set up this game and you see it going way off sideways and you're thinking, how am I good? They have lost their minds, and I'm there and I just start squeaking. We have a horn and I'm squeaking the horn with all my might to stop because it's gone off the rails. But you got to trust that they're going to make it funny and keep it clean when we're at a clean show, because we do different varieties of shows, right? We do bar shows, which are, for 19 and over, and then we do super clean
Family show this summer
shows.
this summer at Seafest, for example.
Yes. I mean, and that's the thing. If it starts getting out of hand, do you have trouble reeling the guys back in?
Not all of them, maybe one.
I don't know who that guy is. I don't know who that guy is. We used to have a running joke. We used to have a running joke on the clean shows. Who's going to break the rule first?
Right.
Right. And they had to buy the round at the end of the family show.
Mm-hmm.
Wendy bought a lot of rounds.
She did. She
Jeremy
did.
bought some rounds.
Mm-hmm. You bought some.
I bought some, but I've been
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've noticed that.
I have been really trying to be good and holy. That's why we named that show this.
I think being able to do a family show, improv show, and then turn around and go to Haley's and doing a 19 and over show, just goes again back to we've been doing this since 2017. We've been invested into it. We do it semi-regularly now. So it's just, and we're still trying to find new things to do, new ways to tell stories, new way to tell jokes, incorporate stuff. Now doing dinner theater, incorporating all our funny stuff into writing stuff, and I don't know. I'm loving it. I'm loving every
Yeah,
second.
and already having that relationship with everybody, because we're like this little tiny family, that I know when I'm on stage, if I get paired up with him, I kind of know what he might do. And so I know where I can go with him. I know where I can go with Wendy or the other. So it's nice, especially writing this and being involved in this. We're just kind of all supporting each other. I know that if I flub up, somebody's got me.
Right.
Right.
I mean, that's where the improv capabilities come in. I mean, if you're used to doing scripted
Right.
material, then you might not have the wherewithal to kind of pick up and push into that.
Right. And which is what I was. I was always script until I started this. Now improv changes your brain. So you tend to do improv in your daily life. So when you're sitting in a meeting and something comes to your mind that's funny and you say it out loud, it's not always forgiven. So I struggle with that.
Well, I find, having done the podcast, I mean, before this, of course, I was always behind the scenes. All the work I did at Viking Cable and Eastlink
Now your
after that was all
textures is
behind.
showing.
Yes, I know. And then at Mariner Center with the media crew there, never on air, always behind the scenes. But then came a point where, all right, there's a couple of projects I want to do, but I can't get anybody to do the interview. Well, shit, now I got to do it myself. So I started doing it myself.
Good
now,
for you.
And I'm not saying I'm not professionally trained at any of this stuff. I just like to talk. In looking at doing dinner theater as opposed to like scripted play, as opposed to stand up, what's all of your preference? You've done a little bit of everything. So do you have a preference?
Yeah, I don't think I do. I love it all. You get different rewards. Some of the same rewards from all of it, but different rewards. In a theater situation, you have long periods of time, a long period of time, 3 or 4 months, to really get to know some new people, maybe some old friends, but so you develop a whole relationship and a sense of family and accomplishment to put a production on. So there's different rewards with everyone, but I have no preference. I love what I do when I'm doing it.
I don't think I do either. You get something different from each thing we do, like even directing, where you're not on stage. I still love it. Yeah. I love directing. It brings out my bossy side, which is
your natural tone.
My natural tone, yes, sir. Yep. Yeah, the 4 months of working to a show and then getting to go on stage and give it to everybody, that brings me something different. I've never done dinner theater yet. I don't like to sing in front of people, and I will be. So that's kind of like a bucket list fear that I'm going to check off. So hopefully I don't choke.
White wine, right? White wine.
Yes. Or shots of tequila.
She won't choke.
Me loves tequila.
I have a very nasty relationship with tequila.
Tequila's
We'll
not
skip
good
that.
for the diction.
Now, Jeremy, you've done a wide variety of things. What's your preference? Do you have one?
I love trying all the formats of it, all the forms, all the different ways to do performance stuff. It goes back to one of the first lessons I learned. If you want to be an actor, learn how to do your own stuff. Figure out how to do your own stuff, whether it's a show, a big theatrical show or small, whatever the scale size of it is. Learn how to do that. Tell your own stories. I think the most reward, for me has been telling our own stories. I was never good at being a writer. It was always intimidating me. So checking that box off, going through that challenge, and getting to the point where our actors are reading our script.
That was cool.
For the
when
first
I sat
time,
there and listened to,
our
even though
different
it's
voice is
just
gonna
a
sound good.
22-page script, just hearing them read lines that I wrote, because it's my first writing experience. So that was pretty cool.
I think doing the improv for so long has prepped us for this open light theater. I call it, when I'm teaching workshops, I call it open light theater, where you're in a room of some sort with a group of people that's in there, whether you're doing an improv show, whether you're the host of a wedding, whether you're, you know what I mean, you're up there doing stand-up, you're telling jokes in open light in front of people. There's a huge difference between that and doing a live performance at the Arc or at the Osprey or a theater of some sort. You're telling a story in a different way. Like, there's different styles and formats. So all of the experience that improv has brought us has really, like, Alan is like a little bit of a different place, because this is new for him, right? This is a whole new kind of experience, but he's got 5 really experienced people
Pandora's
that way.
box with Alan.
We did.
Oh,
Putting
yes.
him in Elf. I think that just kind of,
Did you see Elf?
yes,
Wasn't he amazing?
he was.
He was naive through the whole thing.
I was not surprised by his performance by any stretch of imagination. I knew that was in him. It's just that now it's been let out, right? You can't.
Right.
Yep.
His wife did call me and said, the tap shoes need to stay at the Yark, Miss Director, because he was tapping his ass off at home and she had had enough.
Well, see, there's no neighbors to piss off where he
No,
is.
there's not. He's just on top of his hill like the Grinch.
So, looking at all the skits and the material that you guys have performed over the years, if anybody has seen your show once, is it the same twice? Like, could I go to 2, 3, 4 shows in a row and expect different material?
We got hardcores that go like to every Haley show that we do, like our over 19 show. And if you go to every show, like, whoa, thank you so much. You might see the same labeled game, but you'd never see the same innards. I call the innards of the game the nuances, the scenario, or the
Scene.
the
characters
characteristics
will
that
change them.
Wendy would have in that particular game. You'd have to really see every show that we've ever done to maybe have an allude back to that, because I don't know, I might use the same character, but it's going to be in a different game and a different joke telling scenario. Might be the same kind of, because it's an Italian accent or whatever. But
Yeah. Somebody remind us of the dates.
July 10, 11, 12, and 13 at the Grand Hotel.
And tickets will go on sale.
They are on sale right now. You can get them through Eventbrite. You can go right on Rod's site or our Facebook site, and you can click the link, and it prompts you how many tickets you want, and then it prompts you to the meal, what you want for the meal.
They do a good job.
They do a wonderful job, and they've been very supportive of us.
We
and
are so excited to bring dinner theater back.
Are you encouraging your audience to dress appropriately?
I mean, they should not come naked. Is that what you mean?
Well, that's really
Yeah,
that's up in
wait,
the air too, isn't it
One
not?
show and we're done.
No, they do not need to come dressed up as priests or nuns or mafia boss, but some will probably end up doing that, and that's
70s
great.
and 80s attire is what I
Or
was getting
70s
at.
and 80s, yeah. No, they do not need to. But they can.
They can.
We never say no.
No, we don't.
Is your song choices sing-along friendly?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
So there's one point here about midway through, I think, that I hope that it
People
just
are
starts
up
getting
and-
crazy. You know, it turns into like a happening or a
Dance
moment.
party.
Well, that'd be about 2 or 3 drinks into it.
Exactly.
wouldn't it?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to be audience interactive.
Yes.
Like you would expect. Like we're hoping to get into that. We're not centralized in a centralized stage area for a couple little parts of our set, but the whole thing is incorporated into the audience, so it's going to be very interactive and fun.
Because we're not playing instruments, so we're not stuck on the stage during the song. So we are going to have tambourines and egg shakers and all stuff that we're going to hand them out. We're going to be among the audience dancing, get people up and dance. So that component I'm really looking forward to.
And we're not playing to an audience. The audience is part of the show.
Yep.
They're there for a reason. They're there for the fundraiser that Reverend Mother in the convent is putting on.
I'm Gary Nickerson,
And I'm Quinn Taggart.
and this has been Outside My Window.